Hi, it's Bill Raymond. In this video, I'm going to show you how to collaborate on Visual Studio and GitHub using pull requests and issues. So let's go ahead and get started. Now, I don't want to bother you with a bunch of slides, but I do want to walk you through a few things before we get started. Feel free to use the notes section if you want to jump to the demos. First of all, what is GitHub collaboration? Essentially, you can write your code and publish it to GitHub. And when you publish your code into GitHub, it's called a repository. Other people might like the idea of your code and want to use the code for themselves. Or they might want to collaborate with you, meaning create more code or modify your code, fix bugs, whatever it happens to be that they want to do. So if they want to edit your code, they can't just jump in there and start modifying it. What they do is they create a fork. And so that fork is essentially a copy of your code. And it's not necessarily linked, but GitHub does remember that you forked your code from there. And that's going to be important later. More people can create their own forks of code too. So as more people are interested in sharing code with you, they're going to essentially create a copy of your code that they work with. They could in fact make changes, use the code, and never send it back to you. But that's a conversation around licensing that we're not going to get into in this demo. Now, if a collaborator wants to share their code with you, they'll send a pull request. Now, what's a pull request? Basically, what they're doing is they're saying, hey, I have some code that I want to share with you. And you'll say, okay, I will pull your code changes and take a look. So the pull request means, hey, original developer, upstream developer as they call them, could you please pull my changes and see what you think? And then, if you like the changes, you can go ahead and incorporate them into your code. You can accept them as is, you can make some modifications, or you can decline them completely. And then once you've done that, you have a fully threaded conversation where you can communicate back to the original person that wrote the code. After you've accepted code from the pull request, the person that forked your code can decide if they want to pull down the changes or not. Their code does not change automatically, even if it's something they specifically said they want you to add and you added it. You certainly have many more collaboration options in GitHub, but the other major one is issues. So what's an issue? When you create a repository in GitHub, there'll be a link to an issues item. And this is where people can go in and say, hey, I have a bug, or I have an idea, or a support request, whatever it might be. Think of this as like just one big log for people to enter their requests, issues, and then you can track them. This isn't necessarily people sending you code though. That's what the pull request is about. This is people just making a statement and asking for your response. Now you'll be notified every time you get a new item in there. And you can also have a threaded conversation with that person. Maybe someone says, well, my code stops working after 10 minutes. You say, well, send me the log file. And they send it to you. And then you realize what the problem is. And when you make an update, that person will see that you've made the change and they can also converse with you on that. Okay, so let's start collaborating. First, before we get started, you can see I have Web Application 1. This is a web solution. And I've got some text on here that says Hello World. I'll just run the application so you get a sense as to what it looks like. I'm not going to keep running this all the time, but there it is. You can also see that down below here, I do have my code in a local Git repository. And if I come to Team Explorer and come to the home page, you can see it's connected to GitHub. If you don't know how to do this, I highly recommend that you watch my previous video on how to set up GitHub with Visual Studio. It's linked in the show notes. Okay, so now let's go ahead and take a look at what GitHub looks like. Here you can see this is my GitHub page. And on there, we have my list of repositories. Here's the Web Application 1. And if I drill into this and go down into pages, you'll see that index page. And actually, it looks like I added Hello World not too long ago. So cool. That's my code. and this is how I'm managing it. At this point, I'm going to introduce the person that I'm going to collaborate with. Hey, do you want to sit down over here? Yeah, sure. That sounds good, thanks. Okay, this is my GitHub homepage, and I want to collaborate with Bill. So I'm going to click on the search bar and search for Bill Raymond, and go to Users, and there he is right here. Now, I actually heard that this application has a really cool title that says Hello World at the top, but I think we should change it to something else. So I'm going to come down here to Pages and go to the index page. Now, if I click the Edit button, it says the project is going to get forked. So I know that that's what's going to happen. So rather than do that, click the Edit button right away, I'm going to click the Fork link instead at the top right. There, now it says it's been forked. I can go back to my home page, and you can see I now have a copy of Bill's code. Now, if I make changes, Bill's not going to see them. But I'm going to go ahead anyway and go into the application, go to Pages, go to Index, and then I'm going to change this to Hello. Whoops, I'm going to click Edit first, and change that to Hello, it's me. And come down and said, changed index to Hello, it's me. I'll even say change index title. Thought this would look better. And you can see I'm going to commit this directly into my master branch. But I'm just going to go ahead and commit that. Now I'll assume that I use this in Visual Studio and tested it, and I really like it, and I think that Bill would really like to incorporate this into his code. So what I'll do is, again, I'm on my page. So what I'm going to do is go to Pull Requests, click New Pull Request, and now you can see I'm going to go back over here to Bill's code and suggest this code goes from my repository to his. And so I'll click Create Pull Request. But before I do that, actually, let's take a look down here. You can see here's Hello World, and then Hello, it's me. And I can actually see the change. If I come over here to the split icon, then I can see the two pages left to right, side by side. Cool. I know what I'm going to be asking Bill to take a look at. So I'll click the pull request, and you can see it actually took the original changes that I made and pre-filled it for me. Of course, I could change this, but I'm not going to. And I'll click Create Pull Request. Okay, back to you, Bill. Cool, thank you. And I'm going to now go to my GitHub homepage and go to my web application. Now, I received an email saying that there was a pull request, and I can see there's a pull request here. And I can go ahead and look at it in GitHub. But the point of this video is to show you how we can collaborate using Visual Studio. But before I go to Visual Studio, I do want to just show you I can leave a comment here and have a threaded conversation. So I could say, thank you, I will take a look, and make a comment. I could also close this right now, but what's the point? I'm just going to make my comment. So what I'll do is go into Visual Studio. And here is where I can now collaborate using Visual Studio connected with GitHub. So if I click the home icon in Team Explorer, I'll get a number of links here, number of icons. And one of the things I can look at is pull requests. So I'll go ahead and do that. And here you can see change index title to Hello, it's me. And you can see there's my collaborator. So I'll go ahead and double click on that. And actually it said it failed. I want to point out this user interface isn't always the best to work with. Sometimes you'll double click on something and it takes a while. Here's what you do. I'm actually glad this happened because I want to show this to you anyway. Click the refresh icon. And then you'll see the changes listed. Now, if I double click on this index.cshtml file here, all it's doing is showing me a diff. Okay, it's not actually pulling the code in. It hasn't changed anything in Visual Studio. I'm in complete control of my code base. Here's my original hello world, and here's the suggested new change. I'm going to go ahead and just close that down so we can kind of get back to here. And now what I'm going to do is take a look at this option. You can see there's a conversation thread going on, so we can see that. And if I click on this, this just brings me back to a page here where I can leave more comments. You can see there's my comments. And I'm going to go ahead now and click this check out to PR1. Now, before I click this link, I want you to pay very close attention to something. See, it says PR/1. That is a pull request and the first one in my project. Note down here, I'm in the master branch from my project right now. So I'm going to go ahead and check out this pull request. And what's happened is Visual Studio pulled down that pull request and created a whole new branch for me. You can see it's selected right now. So there's that hello, it's me text. So at this point, that other person, the collaborator, wasn't able to touch my code. All he was able to do was ask for a pull request. And then I can decide if I want that in my code. And then when I do, it's still only pulled down to a branch, meaning it's not really affecting any of my code until I go and incorporate it back into the master branch. So I look at this and I say, you know what? I think I want to put just an apostrophe here where it's me is. I'm going to do it's me. And I'm kind of okay with that. So I'm fine. I'll go here to my Solution Explorer, and there's that index page. I'll go ahead and commit that. There we go. And I'll commit that to my code base. And again, I've only committed it to this PR pull request 1 branch. So I'll come back over here to Team Explorer, go to the home icon, go to branches, go to master, and let's say that I have already checked this code out. I'm cool with it. It's not going to break anything. I'm just going to go ahead and take this change title pull request, merge it into the master, and we're good to go. I'm going to come over here and sync it and push the code up to my branch. Now here's what's important. I pushed this code up to GitHub, but a few things also happened. First of all, I'm going to refresh this page, and what you'll see is it shows that I automatically committed it, and it says merged here. So really what I've done is I've closed the pull request. So if I come back here, go back to Web Application 1, go to pull requests, it doesn't exist anymore. It says 1 closed. Meanwhile, my collaborator got an email saying that I accepted it, and they'll see that message. So let's just make sure that the code's there. Come over here to Application 1, Pages, and the index page. And there it is. Hello, it's me. So we're good. We just collaborated on a project together, and really, had I not shown you anything in GitHub, we could have done all of this through Visual Studio. Hey, thanks, Bill. I appreciate it. And I am looking at the pull request here, and I can see it's closed, so thanks for that. And if I wanted to pull this into my code, I could do that. If you're watching the video and you want to see how to do that merge from Bill's changes back to my fork, then just let me know in the comments, and maybe we'll do that for you. Okay, so I've looked at the code, and I'm pretty excited about it. But what I just realized is that hello, it's me text, it actually might be copyrighted. So I might want to inform Bill of that. So I'm going to go to issues instead, because I don't want to change Bill's code. I just want him to know that there's a possibility that, hey, your code might have some copyright issues in it. So I'll click New Issue, and I'll say potential copyright issue in title. Hey, I know I suggested the change, but realized those words are from a song. And I'll go ahead and submit this to Bill. Okay, thank you for that. And I just received an email saying that there was an issue logged. So I'm here in Visual Studio. I'm in Team Explorer. I'm in the home icon, and I see there's an issues link. I'm going to click on that. Unfortunately, Visual Studio doesn't provide the same threaded discussion conversation option in Visual Studio that you have with pull requests. For issues, you have to go to the website, but at least it links you to it, and you can take a look at what the issue is. And I can see, oh, okay, yeah, it's a copyright issue. I think I understand the problem. So I'll come back into Visual Studio, and I'm just going to make the change to the master branch to speed things up here for the video. And so I'll just go and say, hey there. That ought to be pretty easy. And I'll go to my Solution Explorer, and I'm going to go ahead and commit this code. Now, if I just commit this code, then what's going to happen is I'm going to have to come back here and leave a comment and close the issue. Okay? And I don't necessarily want to have to do that. I want to do that through Visual Studio. So how do I do that? Well, it turns out that I can do this by taking a look at the GitHub issue, and I can see that it's number 2. So what I'm going to do is come back over here to my commit, and rather than just type change to hey there, I'm going to do something else. I'm going to say fixes number 2 and changed text from hello, it's me to hey there. By putting the word fixes, fixed, closed, closes at the beginning, and then the number of the issue number, then you'll actually get it closed for you automatically. So let me go ahead and commit this. Save it. And of course, nothing's happened in GitHub yet, so I need to sync that and push it up to GitHub. So now that it's been pushed up to GitHub, I'm going to refresh the page, and you can see Bill Raymond closed this. So now if I come back to the web application and go to issues, there are no issues, and it says 1 closed. So there, I didn't actually have to go back into the website to make that change. Okay, let's wrap up. First, we'll talk about pull requests. First, what's really important to know is that when someone wants to change your code, they don't just go into your repository and start making code changes. They fork your code. That creates a copy on their GitHub site. Next, the collaborator will modify their code, test it out, see what they think, and then they might ask you to pull their changes into your code. Hey, this is a great idea. Bill, do you want to take this and put this into your code? You can then compare that in Visual Studio and decide if you want that. If you do, then you can just go ahead and bring it down into Visual Studio. Visual Studio will automatically create a separate branch, so it never really modifies any production code. You decide what changes you want to keep, what changes you don't, and when you sync it back up to GitHub, it automatically closes that pull request. The person that is a collaborator will also receive an email informing them that that pull request is closed. Now remember, if you have problems with pull requests, and unfortunately you probably will, you're going to have to use that refresh icon. The good news is that it's easier to just stay in Visual Studio than to go back and forth between Visual Studio and GitHub, and the refresh usually only takes a few seconds to fix something. Issues is different than pull requests in that no one's changing any code. They're going in and asking you a question, logging a bug, making a change request. You're going to have to look at that list and modify your code manually, should you so desire. There's no pull request that's happening here, no code being sent to you. Once you're done with that, if you decide to close that item, then you can include that in your commit. And what you do is you prefix that commit with fixes, fixed, close, closes, and just put the number next to it. And once you do that, it will automatically update and close in GitHub the next time you sync your changes back. Thank you for watching this video. If you want more like this, please like, comment, and click the bell to support my channel.